All right, so then to recap, because I like to do things in stages. So it's like, boom, you divinely found yourself on the West Coast. Boom, you get a job as a technical designer, you're making huge impact. And you get another job in fashion, and you're still making a huge impact. You're saying yes to potential managerial opportunities, and then the universe strips that, puts you in a position to have to listen to your body. You say yes to becoming a yoga certified person. You get into a relationship. That relationship was transformative. You start asking yourself a series of questions around your life. You're calling yourself in, you're doing the inner work. You find programs that help, accelerate you. You find community that holds you accountable to the things that you say are important to you. And now this is 5 years ago. And so the last 5 years, right, from 2020, COVID, to now, what do you think has been the thing that has sustained like those practices from 2020 even to today? Because there's one thing to um do the program, and then there's another thing to like remember that you already have a learned skill over time, because the last 5 years, it's like not even just for you but for the world, have been incredibly tumultuous, right? Like we've seen racial injustice, we've seen social unrest, we've seen recessions, we've seen changes in administrations, right? Like a lot of the things that go on in the world, like can really put people back into an environment where they're just like, nah, like I don't want to do no work. I just want to like be
Survive.
here and survive and do absolutely nothing. Just go about my day to day, pay my bills, mind my business, stay hydrated. So, what has the last 5 years looked like for you in terms of sustaining the ways in which you are going to continue to invest in your personal development?
The last 5 years. Well, okay, so COVID started, and then that after that, so early 2020 to 21 is when I was involved with that group in LA
Yep.
that I was talking about. So that kind of really kicked it off. But then there were very tumultuous things that happened in my life that you are aware of that I'm not going to address right this minute,
Yes.
but that were very destabilizing,
Yeah.
right? Um, Left my apartment, was living in a situation that was very challenging emotionally, while also being very comfortable, right? Like in the backsliding kind of aspect. So that was very, very challenging. My yoga practice, so like pre MITT, that what I built, the foundation that I built with my yoga practice, like even during the times where I am off of it, where I've had injuries where I wasn't able to really practice like that, but the work that I did at that time really raised my baseline, right? So like there's only so far back that I can slide because there's such uncomfortability in it, and there's good uncomfortability that that comes with growth and like really challenging yourself and confronting yourself, and then there's like, no, this is not me, I don't feel comfortable, I'm not living the way that I'm supposed to. And so that uncomfortability is a huge thing to me. Like there's this voice in my mind like, you fucking playing right now, right? So always listening to that, following my intuition, and remembering to get back to my practices when I start to slide off of them. In terms of everything that's gone on and is continuing to go on in the world, honestly, I just try to limit it at some certain times. Like I'm not the person who's gonna watch the news day in, day out. And even like moving to Florida last year, to be there with my family for my aunt and all of that, the news is on in the house a lot,
Yeah.
right? And so that was a challenge because it's designed based around fear mongering,
Yeah.
right? So like I'd rather get my news from like comedian sources or in bits and pieces, or like I'll do the independent research of like, okay, I heard this little snippet on Instagram, what's actually going on, and I'll go and do my research rather than let me turn on the news and let them tell me what I should think about it. Right? So to fully answer your question, what was your question again?
Of the last 5 years, how do you make sure to sustain these practices?
I can't say necessarily that I always have, right? Like this
Mm-hmm.
last year being back around family was really, really challenging.
Yeah.
It makes me think of that meme of Mariah Carey singing, I was lying, I was foolish, I was lying to myself, right? That one where it's like the top of it said, I thought I did all of this healing, and then I got around my family and I was like, I was foolish, I was stupid, I was lying to myself,
Yeah.
right? Because I still got to see, I got to see rather where there are still gaps,
Yeah.
right? Where there are still triggers, where I still have hangups, where I'm tempted to revert to my teenage self. And,
Mm-hmm.
like, there's been a ton of stuff coming up this last like 6 months that I've been in New York around my mom and grandma again.
Mm-hmm.
Like just teenage angst and anger of stuff
Mm-hmm.
that I thought that I had released and let go
Mm-hmm.
of and healed from and all of that. I was like, oh shit, I'm not as healed as I really thought.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to take away from all the work that I have actually done. Like I'm miles from where I used to be. But just at the end of the day, anchoring into the things that I know feed me, right?
Yeah.
And it might look different in different settings because I haven't been able to necessarily carve out hours or days of silence where like when I was living by myself, I could not talk to anybody for a couple of days if I just turned my phone off
Yeah.
or just put it on D&D or just watch it ring.
Yeah.
I don't have that opportunity anymore, right? So now it looks like getting in my car and going for a drive,
Yeah.
especially since gas is like $3 in New York and not $6 like it was in LA,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I was like, oh, it's lit. I'm doing this again, and
Mm-hmm.
that's actually something that has been very healing for me. Throughout the years since I got my license, right? It kind of creates a space where I'm physically moving as fast as I feel like my thoughts are moving,
Yeah.
right? So carving out space for myself, however it looks. If I need to go out and take a walk, if I need to get in the car and drive, if I need to go out and do a yoga class, right? Because a lot of the times after my training, I didn't really necessarily need to go to class because I know the practice. Like I can just get on my mat in my house and be good. Um, so the challenge right now for me has been what do my practices look like in this new context because I'm now committed to being in service to my original community in a way that I haven't been for the last decade plus, right?
Yeah.
So it's looked very different and there has been some backsliding and giving myself grace,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like not holding myself to the exact same standard that I did, and not being down on myself that I don't have a morning routine, quote unquote. Um, so being adaptable, being flexible, doing what feels good in the moment, looking deep into myself and not letting all of the noise consume me.
Yeah.
So if I need to get out of the house, then I need to get out of the house. If I need to have a confrontive conversation with the people that I love, I need to do that.
Yeah.
Um, Giving them grace as well because it's not only a new experience for me, it's new for them to have this new version of me in the house with them,
Yeah.
right? And there's been many times where they may picture me as an old version and I may picture them as an old version, and I have to like kind of take the time to actually pause between the event happening and the reaction to like actually respond instead of react.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be what I would say. Like, take the
Mm-hmm.
time, be flexible in what the routines look like, what the practices look like, breathe,
Mm-hmm.
coming back to the breath. Like, that is the foundation that I got from my yoga teacher training.
Yeah.
And the practice in general, like coming back to the breath. There is so much that we can do. Like, you can literally control your nervous system with your own breath, right?
Yeah.
So we start getting out of hand, things start elevating. I know that I can and come back to myself.
Yeah, for sure. And Yoni, as we wrap up the episode, like, what in action does it look like to make sure that every day you say yes to yourself? Because it can't be that some days we say no. You know what I'm saying? I think that you have mastered like saying yes to yourself in many ways every single day, even if it's in the smallest of ways. So, what does that look like in practice from morning all the way up until nighttime?
Um, I will say that it doesn't look the same day in, day out. It's very different. Like, first of all, we're women. We are on a different cycle, very different from the way that the world that we live in is actually set up, right? Like, it's set up for the 24-hour hormonal cycle of a man, where
Sure.
we are a 28 to 30-day cycle hormonally, right? We have all of these different phases, and we're going to show up differently during the follicular phase, the luteal phase, etc. Right? So, honoring that, honoring where I am in any given moment. Sometimes it's just surviving the day, right? Like, sometimes it's being hugely productive, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's going to yoga and drinking the coconut water and doing the self-care mask, doing all of those things. Sometimes it is, I didn't cuss my mom out. Praise God. Praise God. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the flexibility is, I think, the number one thing. Like, allowing myself grace, allowing yourself grace to show up as best as you can in any given moment, and listening to yourself and deciding what is the best thing that you can do moment to moment, day to day.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Behind the Work. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure that you subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and follow us on social media. I'm really looking forward to seeing and hearing how this show is leaving an impact on you.